Welcome to the WIHS Journal. On the broadcast with me today, I'll be speaking to Kim O'Rourke. She is a recycling coordinator right here in Middletown, Connecticut. And today she'll be sharing about new innovative ways to recycle. Stay tuned next for all the details. And again, she is all about recycling. Great to know that she cares about the environment, if so as our people should too. So, Kim, tell us what's going on new now for recycling.
Sure. So I am the recycling coordinator for the city of Middletown. So we manage the recyclables from the city, and I do a lot of education work in teaching people what to recycle. And probably the newest thing, and people have probably been hearing about the recycling markets and how they're not as strong as they used to be. I get a lot of questions, is our stuff really getting recycled? Is it worth separating it and putting it in the recycling bins? And I will say it absolutely is. In Connecticut, recycling is mandatory, and there's certain items that must be recycled, and our processing centers are finding markets for them and are recycling the materials.
Absolutely. And, now with China's national sword, are items actually getting recycled, and at what cost? And is there anything we can do to reduce the costs?
So that you're absolutely right. With in the past, a lot of our recyclables went to China, and for better or worse, that's what was happening. And with China implementing their National Sword campaign, they basically are not taking scrap material from the U.S. anymore, or they have a very strict contamination level. So it's very hard to get the recyclables to be a quality that they will accept. So what that has done is it's actually inspired more investment in domestic markets. So there are folks and companies who are now creating markets in the U.S. and Canada, which is great, because then our materials will stay here and get recycled here. But in the meantime, it has increased the cost of recycling, whereas in the past, we have gotten paid for recyclables, or we have paid zero. It is more expensive now. But the whole recyclables are a commodity, so the prices have always gone up and down, and we do expect them to come up again in the future. Or go down, I guess, depending on how you're looking at it. But one thing that folks can do to help keep the cost down is make sure that they're only recycling what is actually supposed to go in the bin. That is really, really, really important. We do find a lot of people do wishful recycling, where they wish it was recycled, so they'll put it in the recycling bin. But really, that is not a good thing to do. You want to get the list of what is recyclable, and that's easy to get. You can get it on the website, recyclect.com. They have a universal list for Connecticut. In every town in Connecticut, they will recycle those items that are on that list, and only put those items in your recycling containers. And we did, like I said, a lot of people do wishful recycling. We find that about a quarter of what is in the recycling bin should not be in there.
Wow.
So we really need people to pay attention to what they are recycling and that it is recyclable.
And I know, and sometimes the items will have a specific number in the back that kind of gives you more of an inclination to know what to do, too.
They will actually, believe it or not, that can be deceiving.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, and that doesn't always tell you the correct thing. For instance, a plastic bag will have a triangle with a number 2 on it.
Wow.
But a plastic bag cannot go in your recycling bin, and that is one of the biggest contaminants we get in the recycling bins. People bag up their recycling and put it in the bins. But in Connecticut, all our recycling goes to a processing plant, and there it gets all separated. So all your metal cans, your plastic bottles, your paper, it all gets separated. But in order for them to do that, they have magnets and blowers and conveyors, and these plastic bags jam up the equipment like horribly, so that they have to shut down the equipment and manually go up and take the bags out of the conveyors.
Wow.
So that's an example of an item that has that recycling triangle and has a number on it, but it does not belong in the bin.
Okay. So what is recycling contamination?
So that's when items items are put in the recycling that do not belong there. I guess it can be two things. It can be items that don't belong there, like the plastic bags,
Yes.
like a garden hose, like a coat hanger. Those items don't belong in the recycling bins. Or it can be like a pizza box with food in it. So pizza boxes are recyclable if they're totally empty, but if they have food in them, they're not. That's the contamination, is the food. So we cannot have any food in with the recycling, and we want the items to be clean and dry, and we want the correct items in the bin.
I guess I learned something too. I thought plastic hangers were recyclable.
No, it's just plastic containers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there a better way that we can handle our trash? I mean, let's just get right down to it. Is there a better way we can handle it?
So in Connecticut, that's a good question. Most of our trash is sent to trash to energy facilities where it's burned, and then the recyclables go to a recycling facility. I mean, there is a better way, and I will say the best way to handle our trash is to not create the trash in the first place, to really think about what you're purchasing, use items as fully as you can, repair them if you can, not to use the single-use items, like the plastic bags, or don't take a straw if you don't need it, bring your reusable coffee cups.
Yep.
Because the less trash we have, then it's easier to handle and more manageable.
Yeah. And I'm kind of an animal advocate. I have a heart. And then there was a story surfaced a few months ago about a whale that was pregnant, and they found it dead because it had thousands of pounds of plastic bags in it.
Yeah. Yep. That's,
you find sea turtles with straws shoved up their nose. I mean, how does stuff like that happen?
It happens because that stuff, you think you use that stuff, you might some people would put it in the garbage, but some people don't, and it blows away. And even if it's in the garbage, it can blow away at some point, and it ends up in our woods or in our oceans, and it becomes a big problem for the animals and the wildlife there. So I think and you might know, in Middletown we recently passed an ordinance to ban plastic checkout bags. So it's an effort to get people to think about this. You bring your own bag to the stores, any store that you go, so that you don't have to take a plastic checkout bag, which you'll use, for, on average, people use those for 12 minutes and then throw them away.
I know.
Yeah.
And you go into just a regular store, and then they're piling on the bags. I'm like, I really don't need all these bags.
Right, yeah. So we really want people to start thinking about the things that they use and try not to use so many. Use less.
Is there anything that I missed in this interview that you would like our listeners to know about recycling?
So one other thing we didn't talk about that I just want to mention is I think in the future we're going to see a lot more with organics. That's another way to handle our trash better. A lot of our food waste just goes to the regular garbage. So we're trying to get more people to compost at home, where you can take your organics like food waste and turn it into a valuable compost that you can use on your gardens or on your lawns, on your flower beds. And but there's also the state is developing, or private entities are developing, and the state is promoting more facilities that can handle items like food waste and turn it into valuable material, so it's not just burned at a trash to energy plant. And I think in the next couple of years you're going to see a lot more with that, where more restaurants will be diverting their food waste. So I think that's one thing to think about. If you can compost at home, try it. It's not that hard, and it really gives you a valuable product that you can use.
Once again, that was Kim O'Rourke from the city of Middletown. She is the recycling coordinator. And for more details about this, give us a call at 860-346-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of a staff and management of a station. I'm Anissa Porticelli. The WIHS Journal is public affairs from WIHS, Middletown,